Resident Evil 4.
Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Resident Evil 4 professional no damage run. And we're on chapter 3, I believe. We've just gone through the garden maze. We're in this crazy bedroom post the Ada scene, and I'm shooting jewellery from the top of a bed, which is an interesting place to stash your goodies. And this is a pretty short video compared to most of them. I'm not entirely sure what it entails, but I'm sure we'll get to that when it occurs. So this guide hasn't featured as heavily on the channel as I would want it to, mainly because I'm still editing it and still commentating it, and I've got a lot of stuff happening at this moment in time which is making it difficult to do things. And because it's the summer, it's getting hot in the room, and it's already hot in the room. I'm already a hot human being, and it becomes almost unbearable. And we actually have neighbours who have a lot of children, and if you hear any weird noises, it's probably them, even though I've tried my best to dampen out all external sounds. When I went to the toilet just then, I could hear a fucking recorder, and whoever was playing it obviously doesn't understand anything about the recorder because it literally sounded like they were trying to kill an army of cats. But whatever, hopefully that will not get through on the microphone, and if it does, you have my apologies. So somebody commented on an earlier video, why didn't I buy the stock for the TMP? Because I was mentioning in the video that if Leon held the TMP a certain way, it would have made a shot much easier to do. And the reason I didn't buy it is because I've literally spent so long not buying anything from the shop, I kind of forgot to do it, and in all honesty, I didn't see it. So it's all on me, the reason I didn't buy the TMP stock, and I don't even know if I do, because I'm only using it to set up criticals. I'm not really using it for anything else. I don't do that many long shots with it because I've got a rifle now, so I'm not too sure, folks, if I buy the stock. I hope I do, to calm people's nerves, because I know a lot of people get a little bit unnerved when you're not playing everything perfectly all the time. But this is my run, and it's going to be done in the uncanny way that I do most things, and sometimes I'm going to play really, really well. Other parts I'm going to not play that well at all. It's just the nature of the beast. Also, I'm going to be selling jewels and treasures that I could probably save and make more profit from, because it's once again just the way I seem to do things. But I'm putting some upgrades into the riot shotgun, the riot gun, and I think everything else is at a point where we can't put any more money into it. So there is another instance where I could have bought the stock, but it appears like I'm probably not going to. So yeah, anybody frustrated by that, my apologies, folks, but I just didn't do it. I didn't buy it. It does take up a little bit of room in your inventory, so that might have been one of the conscious reasons why I didn't do it, or I literally forgot. This was recorded, when was this recorded? Like, I think it was recorded in January, so it's been quite a while. It's been a few months. And speaking of months, we're in July, and July is my birthday month. I am a cancerous creature, apparently. I am the crab, and it's the 9th of July, and I'm going to be 27 years old. 27 years old. Old as fuck and none the wiser. Still looking pretty baby-faced, so none the more wiser in my looks either, which is an interesting trade-off. But I don't know, I always think there's going to be some kind of epiphany with birthdays. I always think there's going to be a moment where, you know, shit starts to make sense. And I think the only thing that makes sense at this moment in time in life is that it will never make sense, and the notion that you think it will is perhaps a foolish one. Ooh, this is a tricky room, if this is the place I think it is. Yep, this place sucks. It sucks so hard. You're going to get put in a room with a bunch of crossbow dudes and are they called Gyarados? I forget the name, and a blind fella. So what you want to do is you want to get out of this room as quick as you can. So if you throw that grenade, it will take the padlock off and it will stun the dudes near the door. So then you can run past them, kick the door, and get the hell out of there. That took me ages to get that, because I was trying the shotgun, I tried to knife it, I tried the rocket launcher, I tried all sorts of stuff, and I kept taking damage. And I threw a flashbang grenade and it stunned a bunch of people by that door. And I threw a standard grenade to kill them all. And then I ended up getting hit and having to restart. Jesus Christ, that scared me. And I'm only watching. Bloody hell. So this is a cheeky spawn, this, folks. When you go out onto that bridge, apparently they spawn some dudes behind you, so be very careful. But the cool thing here is if you shoot that light fitting, you can drop fire on them. But I think I've already done it. But as I was saying, when I respawned and I tried to throw another grenade, I noticed that the enemies kind of lined up as they spawned. So when I threw it, I managed to kill a few of them. But the important thing was, I noticed I'd blown the lock off. So then all I had to do was restart the checkpoint and do it with one grenade, and I got through that room pretty quickly. But it's not easy at all. It's not. It's just not. Like, there's a lot of strategies you'll see me do on this that are super powerful and look super easy, but some of them are really tricky, and especially the ones I stumbled onto. Like, the ones I've seen on videos, they're generally spot on. Like the El Gigante fight with the grenade trick, which I saw off a pretty old YouTube video, and a buddy of mine called the Godfather Dictator asked me where I'd seen it, because I think he does it on his run, and we had a conversation where there's a chance that he might have discovered it. I mean, you never know with YouTube because of the way there's so many videos that don't get views that have been up there for ages. But I'd not actually seen it in his video. I'd seen it in a dude who, he didn't even call the game Resident Evil, he called it Biohazard. And I think the date on it was like 2011. So I pretty much said to the Godfather that, you know, if your strategy was before that, there's a chance that you might be one of the first people that discovered it. So, you know, it's a cool thing to claim. But, oh god, there's an archer. But it's one of those things where it's really difficult to do it, because how can you prove you were first? And like I said in that video, I'm never going to say that, you know, I discovered anything in these games, in any game really, because I just don't think you can. There's always someone who's done something before you. There's always, you know, some crazy person who was obsessed with the game or got it early and did amazing things. So whenever I do a strategy that is a siren, hopefully nobody's dying, but whenever I do a strategy that I've seen somebody else do, I try to at least say that I saw somebody do it. And then when I'm doing something that I personally, you know, did and found myself, I always try and say, you know, somebody might know this or somebody might have done this, but this is the way I figured out, because it's just kind of how it works. There's a little bit more of my pretty relaxed manner to inventory going on here that's probably going to frustrate a lot of the OCD people that surfaced when I first put the video up. Because apparently there's a lot of people that love to play the inventory game, and I wasn't aware of that. I'm the guy who I like the idea of the inventory, and it can be cool from time to time, but I want to get back to gameplay. You know, I don't have any aesthetic choice when it comes to arranging my stuff. It just doesn't bother me, and it does bother some, so who knew? But that is a fantastic area, that, and it also means you can use your rocket launcher before this should you choose to, because you can get a free refill. And the conceit with the rocket launcher is you can only have one, and it's a pretty big conceit because rocket launchers are super useful. And somebody mentioned on a comment that, you know, I said some shit about people using the rocket launcher in the cabin, but then I used it against the chief, which I found really bizarre, because I've said from the beginning of this guide I'm going to be using rocket launchers on every single boss because it's the easiest way to kill the bosses. And in the cabin, it's a waste because you only have one, so you're still going to have to shoot a bunch of people, and the only difference is you're then down 20,000 pesetas or gold or whatever. And the reason that people do that strategy is because they're using unlimited rockets. It's a speedrun strategy. It's a strategy that doesn't translate. And the only reason they do that is because it's the quickest way to spawn kill the enemies to get the sequence to end. And, you know, I wasn't trying to spawn kill the enemies. It doesn't benefit me. I was just trying to survive it, and luckily enough I did. So comments like that are always ones that confuse me. Like when people like to tell you the way that they do things, but then there's those kind of arrogant people who like to tell you that their way is better. And there is always a dozen ways to do any kind of game. That's the fun of games. And if it's better or not is generally a subjective thing. Like, there are objective better strategies. You know, if there's a method that literally takes no skill, no effort, and can be recreated by anybody at any time, then that is objectively the best way to do something. But if it relies on the RNG or the capricious AI or a lucky drop or a lucky item or a lucky toss or anything like that, or the random headshot critical or critifier is my new word, as Hazard keeps telling me to embrace, that is not empirically, objectively, the best way to do it. You know, you can do it as many times as you want. You can research us into the methods, but if there's another way of doing it that works better, objectively it's not the best. And I always try and say, folks, that the strategies that I do aren't the best, but they're bloody good. And in a playthrough like this, which is not even technically a walkthrough, I'm not saying any of my strategies are bloody good, except for the ones that are. Because it gives me that immunity of, this is me playing, this is me doing it my way. Thus, it's not wrong, because it's my way. And a lot of people, for some reason, don't seem to appreciate that or understand that and like to say that you're doing stuff wrong, because the whole YouTube and superiority thing that the human condition seems to just revel in. But thank you very much for watching and listening, and as always, you take care now.